Okay, so welcome to another live stream. And what we're going to discuss today is groomer to groomer communication, or maybe groomer to groomer miscommunication. Okay, so I'm going to be really honest, and I'm going to say what sort of like, well, there was two things, but the one thing that really sort of like propelled me to talk about this was a meme that is going around, and I'm going to paraphrase it. Okay, and basically what it says is that if I know, if you tell me to do something and I don't get why, how to do it, I am not going to do it. However, if I know why you're going to do it and it makes sense to me, then I'm going to do it. So my first gut reaction to that is, okay, I'm paying you. You're going to do it because this is my business. Okay. And then after the gut reaction passed, sat down and I thought a little bit about that. And then maybe how am I explaining it? All right. So we're going to do a little role playing, and I'm going to be the jerk of a boss, and you guys are going to be my employees. Okay. Let's see how this would be handled. So, Denise.
Sup?
All right.
This is gonna be
You.
interesting. What's up?
What's up? Okay.
Let's
So,
go.
all right, Denise.
Yes.
I want you to do this, and I want you to do it this way. Ask me why.
Why?
Because I told you to do it that way. It's my business. It's the way I want it done. Okay, let's discuss.
So I had a place of employment that did that to me, and at one point I finally looked at the owner or the manager and I said, "Then fine, you do it yourself." Because he had me do 5 things at one time and would tell me to go ahead if I was working on one of the projects and then just say, "Go do this," with no like explanation of order or anything else. It was just barking orders, and I told him, "Then fine, you go do it yourself."
Okay, so lack of clear communication on my part, correct?
Yes.
Okay, Chris,
Yep.
how would you interpret that?
If I asked you a why question and you literally
You
said because
sound you sound
I'm
like
your
you're in a
boss.
tunnel, Chris. We can't hear you. Here, I'm gonna give Chris an order.
Can you
Fix your
hear me? Can you
volume.
hear me now?
No.
No.
All right. I'll go next unless you can hear me better now.
No, we're gonna go to Angie. Make sure your volume is up. Angie, how would you handle that?
Um,
As an employee, not as a boss.
It's hard when you're playing employee role.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Um,
I think the point that I am trying to make
I
here.
would probably just do it and then at the end of the day, pack up my stuff and leave. Because I had a boss like that and I don't work well like that, which is why I do things the way that I do.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
No, it's like you're in a tunnel.
I've been having mic issues.
I was having mic issues before too.
Try unplugging your headphones.
Michelle,
Ma'am.
what if I just barked an order at you and told you to do it the way I wanted it done because I said so, and I left it at that?
I would do it, and I probably at the end of the day, I would ask to speak to you and say, "Hey, is there a reason you want it done this particular way? Because we might be able to streamline it." I mean, that's probably what I would say because I know I have ways of doing things, but there's a reason. And needing to know the reason is kind of one of the hallmarks of andragogy or the study of adult learning. Adult people have to know why they're doing something to be able to do it. So, I mean, that's an important thing.
Chris, we're getting major feedback from you. I don't know what you did, but it's bad.
Yeah, stop doing that.
Is it still there?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible.
And it's really bad.
I did nothing. Still there.
Yes, log out, log back in.
Yeah, log out.
Okay.
Okay, so
Oh, now it's your turn, Mary.
there we go.
Okay.
All right.
That was
So
painful.
what we're talking about is when we are communicating, whether you're an employee or an employer, there has to be open lines of communications on why things need to be done, which is why employee manuals, all right, which kind of detail how you want things done. Okay. So I know both Angie and Denise, you have employee manuals, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. So now flipping that over, Angie, you asked me to do something and I don't understand why. And I'm going to tell you, well, why do I have to do it that way? Why can't I do it this way? Or the way I am used to doing something?
Uh-oh, here we go.
I love that question. I am happy to tell you exactly why. I have a 745-page operating manual. So the why we do the things, the way that we do them, and how we do the way that we do them is in the operating manual. So even if I'm not physically in the salon and you want to know why we clean the tub in between every single dog, and how we clean the tub in between every single dog, it's what we use, the steps you take, and how it's done, and all of the whys down to the microscopic level is all there, all of it. And I will gladly hand you that entire section for you to read over, or I will read it to you and I will ask you which you prefer.
It's still there, Chris.
Mm.
Unplug your mic, use your computer mic.
I did. What computer mic?
Doesn't your computer have a mic?
No,
Do you have speakers?
I have speakers. They don't have a mic.
Is there a mic in your headphones?
All right. So moving it along while she finishes um, fixing her mic situation. All right. So having very clear instructions on why, and Michelle, you bring up a really good point. The whole of why we need to know what it is we're doing.
Can
Okay.
you hear me at all?
We can hear you, but it sounds like you're in a washing machine.
Well, that's the mic on my headphones. On my, not my headphones, my other thing. Hang on, I'm going to mute myself and come back with a totally different microphone, maybe.
All right. So understanding why it is that we have to do the thing we need to do. And I think as employers, right, it is our responsibility that if we want things done in the manner that we expect our employees to operate, then they have to know they have to know the steps, which is, you know what, a 724-page operating manual. That's awesome.
Well, I'm not, I mean, because I go away and I teach at trade shows, I have to have this available to them, even if I'm not there. Because what if a question arises and I'm in the middle of teaching? I can't answer my phone to answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
They have the tome right there.
Mm-hmm. I feel that when I was managing, owning, and teaching on a regular basis, though, I am really interested, and this is just probably my perspective, my point of view, my personality. I'm really interested in finding new ways of doing things through the student because they have fresh eyes. So as long as they take the proper steps, even if they vary from mine and they get the same results, I'm going to be happy with that. But I'm interested, if they don't have a routine, I'll absolutely give them one. But if they do have a routine, even if it's different from mine, that's fine as long as they arrive at the proper ending. But a lot of the times, if I want the tub scrubbed or if I want the dog dried a certain way because it has a coat type, I'll let them mess it up over and over and then be mad that their dog isn't getting the finish that I can get out of it. Then I'll be like, well, then that's when we go back to square one because I want to teach them. And sometimes those stubborn groomers, and I was one of those, has to do it their way to prove that they're right. And then they're not right. And then they're like, oh, okay, just show me.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I understand that mindset a little bit.
It brings up also people learn differently.
Mhm.
And the way that I learn to do things may not be the way you learn to do things, in which they actually stick.
Right.
Hold on, I muted you, Chris. All right. Chris, you're nope. Say something, Chris.
Not hooked up to the correct mic yet.
Obvious. Yep. So I'm going to
Something
mute
in
you. So how I learn is different. Okay. How my husband learns is different. Almost every student that I've taught, I will see that there is a difference in the way people learn, which is why I try to accommodate as many learning types and when I teach as I can because of that.
Right.
Well, and I've learned with employees, if you teach them the why, they can answer the questions by themselves too.
Mhm.
Right? So even if they're not retaining certain techniques, but they remember that why and like, oh, ding, maybe I should try this. And it seems to stick with them. I also do it in my seminars.
Mhm.
My first thing I do is I go over what we're going over, whatever the seminar is about, and I go over why we need to have policies or why we need to, watch for toxicity or whatever the topic is, why we need it, and then how we are going to handle that situation.
Okay. All right. So the whole do as I say because I said so is not necessarily a really good management style, then, correct?
No, it's very rigid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, now let's take it one step further.
Chris will be our ASL interpreter today.
Let's see.
Can you hear me now? I
Oh
changed
yeah, that's
Oh.
nice.
the USB cord on my mic went.
Hmm.
I just put on a new cord.
Okay.
Okay, so to answer the question from the beginning, if I asked you why and you said because I'm your boss and I said so, I may or may not pack or unpack that afternoon and leave, but I would 100% be looking for another job because you just told me to my face that you don't respect me, you don't give a shit about me, and you don't respect your business enough to have employees that you treat nicely and you treat well.
Okay.
Because while to a certain extent, at the end of the day, that's a valid response because I'm your boss. I said so. If I'm caring enough about my job to want to understand and you basically just shit on me, see ya.
Okay.
I get, as an employer, I get so excited when one of my employees says why. I'm like, oh, let me show
Yeah,
you.
you're a little bit frightening.
Oh my God. Oh, let me show you. Okay. And I have like pictures and things like this. And I'm like, okay, this is Pseudomonas. All right. So see, this is and this is what it does. And I'm like, okay, so see how it coats and the thing. And by the time I'm done, they're like, I
Okay, I'll
shouldn't
just do
have asked
it.
why. I shouldn't have asked why. Because now I know. And I kind of wish I didn't. I kind of wish I just said,
I'm
just
gonna
do
throw
it.
I'm gonna throw another scenario at you. Kind of, I told you this is the way we do things. Okay. It's a safety issue.
Mhm.
Okay. 150-pound bull mastiff. You want two people to lift the dog. Okay. Or a reactive dog, or don't walk dog. You don't have two dogs on the floor at the same time. Okay. Um, a safety issue, right? And a safety issue at the moment. Okay. So there's two types of safety issues: one that's at the moment, and one that is not at the moment. Correct.
Yep.
So for the situation that is at the moment, and you're about to panic because your groomer is lifting a 150-pound dog all by herself.
Mhm.
Okay. What do you do? when you tell her that's not the way you do things, but you know, she came from a shop or he came from a shop in which that was the way they did things.
I drop everything and secure my dog on the floor if I have to, or put it in a kennel and run over there. And while I'm looking directly into their eyes, I'm like, oh, we don't do that here, because if you get hurt and you're out, then I have to reschedule all these dogs. And then it's not how my bank account's set up. And then when you eat a donut, and I can't, my head will explode. And they're like, okay, all right. You need to ask for help. Even if you're the Hulk, you need to ask for help, because we can't lose you. What if you twinge? What if your knee goes out? What if something happens? What if the dog falls on you? No, that'll be a no today, ma'am or sir.
And in that person's defense, if you haven't specifically told them, hey, for big dogs, we get help.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked at a couple toxic shops. I have a very clear memory as a bather. Okay, it's not that clear because I don't remember if it was either a Newfie or a St. Bernard. But watching this dog, and the table was lowered. I was trying to get them onto the table to finish brushing and do the nails. And you know when you're trying to get a big dog to hop on the table and it does that hop on, hop off?
Mm-hmm.
Hop on, hop off. Well, they just sat and laughed at me while it did that about 6 times.
Well, that's amusing the first couple of times. They should have at least
twice,
come over and helped you.
Like one full go around is amusing. Like, no,
Right,
give them
right.
that.
Maybe 2. See if you can get on the second shot.
Maybe
See if you
2. But it was like nobody even. No, there was. I had to have. After about the 5th time, I had to go. Can someone like stand on the other side, block them at least?
Something.
Like, yeah.
Okay.
It was a fun time.
In my defense, I have done that with some of my employees, but the reason why is because they like to be stubborn and not ask for help when they need it. So I will let them suffer for a little bit.
Right, exactly.
Ask me, and then they start learning it's okay to ask for help. So I will say every once in a while, as long as they're not hurting themselves or a dog is going to get hurt, and they're just doing like that ring around the rosy, and they're trying, and I know.
And then the dog's all happy because he thought he did what he was supposed to.
And I'll ask sometimes, and they're like, no, I'm fine. I'm like, okay. And then I watch them keep going, and then finally they learn how to start asking for help. So I will have to say every once in a while, but it is sort of funny.
Mhm.
But I would never do it, obviously. I would never, ever actually had a girl do it. Happened to today with a golden retriever. But I would never, it's not if it's a safety issue, right? Like the dog's not getting hurt and the employee is not going to get hurt. It is just really amusing and happy, you know.
Mhm.
I worked in a salon where help was not available. So you suck it up. And I picked up a Newfoundland because this is pre-ramp days.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to get his paws up. I tried, and I said, is there any, please, can I get a hand? Oh, figure it out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I would have put the
Yeah.
dog in a kennel, packed up my things, and left, because that's not how you treat people.
Right. So,
Okay, now I want let's unpack that. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of groomers who think that is a shop experience or employer experience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that you're just there, you're a body. They can apparently replace you at will. Your self-esteem is not taken into consideration at all, and you're basically on your own, and you don't know there are other options out there.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, what happened was I picked up the Newfoundland. I just lifted it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did, my innards became outards.
Oh, nice.
And I had about a tennis ball size hernia ripped through my side, put the Newfoundland in the tub, picked my shirt up because now there's a huge ball of stuff. And I'm like, oh, and she looked over and she's like, well, that was stupid.
Oh, yeah. That's,
And
yeah.
so I mushed it back in.
Oh,
Wow.
is this is that boss that like all of us want to stone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mushed
Yeah,
it
just to
back
be
in,
clear.
washed the dog, finished the dog, finished my day. And And that was, yeah.
Yeah,
And-
Tommy, you're right. 30 years ago, that was normal.
Mhm.
You were
And-
just expected to die
Yeah.
at any given time doing these dogs. And I think that a lot of people who have come up under that type of mentorship don't know any better. They think that's how you treat groomers because they got treated that way. And it has been perpetuated,
And
over and over as
Angie,
the generations go.
this is just another version of what we were talking about earlier. And that is a topic for another
Mhm.
day. But
Yes.
it's yeah, it is when you're reared in such a toxic environment.
Mhm.
It's like when you okay,
Mhm.
some of us didn't know that it wasn't normal to get smacked around by your parents.
Mhm.
Some of us didn't know it wasn't normal for your parents. And I'm not talking about when I say using an implement or whatever, I'm not talking about like the chancla or something, or like beating you with a slipper, because
Mhm.
I'm talking about like reeds and switches and belts and the paddle. Like
Mhm.
some of us didn't know that being beaten with physical implements wasn't really done anymore and wasn't normal. So wooden spoon. Wooden spoon is like, I don't know. See, that's how you can tell. Not normal. Not normal, because I'm trying to justify, like, wooden spoon's
Right.
not so bad. Like, but if you were reared in that way and
Mhm.
you never leave, if you're in a closed, like, transfer that over to grooming, whether it be handling or how you treat your employees or how you train people. If
Or
that's
how they
you
treat
were,
the dogs.
or
Yeah.
how we treat the exactly handling, how we treat
Yeah.
the dogs, how we treat employees. If you're reared in that closed circle and you never learn better, you don't realize it's not a problem. So then you pass it on. Oof. So
Yeah.
first of all, extension cord, telephone cord, and belts. That's the yeah, we're not right in the head because that's not normal. And I was dad said, I don't feel like hurting my hand. I'm going to use my belt.
It was cat of nine tails for me.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's
Okay,
just a
so
little
my
medieval.
husband-
Anyway, backing it up.
My husband had to kneel on rice, uncooked rice.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Kneeling on
Oh.
pencils. That's another good one.
Yeah, but
Okay.
there comes a time when you are an adult and you look back on that and you can choose better. And I think the
yes.
more, if you just stay in the toxic situation, in the toxic shop, you lose yourself and you start to hate grooming, and then you start to resent the dogs. And
Yeah.
for me, the dogs are what counts. Everything else is extra. Dogs can heal you. They teach you. They make you better. And if you're not experiencing that, you are definitely in the wrong place for you. That's all I have to say about that. We as adults, we get to choose to act that same way or better. And it's just becoming aware that's the most important part. So that's why all of us here on this panel really enjoy education and networking and
Yeah.
communicating with each other, because we can see, even if we came from that type of background, you guys, you don't have to live there. That's in the past, and you get to choose today a better life.
Because
What I
now that
did-
we know better, we're going to do better.
Yes.
Yeah. What I did is I did everything the exact opposite. If that's how it was done in that salon, we're doing the exact opposite. And it's worked out so good. And everybody's happy, and the pets are happy, and everything is good. And yeah, we're extra, but the pets love it.
And it suits your personality and your style and your technique.
Mhm.
Every salon, even good salons, have different techniques and different ways of handling employees. I think that's the beauty of it. Since we're all so varied in our personality and where we came from and how we perceive the world, there is a salon that's going to fit you. Just because if you walk into a lovely clean shop and everybody acts like they love each other, but for some reason you don't feel at home, that's probably not their techniques are not for you. Their personalities are not for you. That doesn't make them bad or toxic. It just simply means you're not in your right space. You got to find your garden. Find the garden where you can grow.
And I've had
Okay.
people come in for interviews, and I always have everybody do a working interview, even if it's a bathing position or whatever.
Absolutely.
Do a working interview. I'll pay you for your time. Just give me an hour. And I've had people come in, and I had a girl come in, and she's like, "You're just a bit much for me." And I said, "This is definitely not the salon for you, because I am right now really low key."
Yeah, because that was just a taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go to 11
Mhm,
and I'm
mhm,
on like 3.
mhm.
And I said, "I appreciate your honesty and I thank you very much. And here's the pay for your time. And I hope you find a place for you."
Mhm.
Because I am ridiculous and happy and excitable and weird. And I enjoy my job so much that that's just me. But that's not comfortable for everyone.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
We have
So
an issue at our salon. Basically, when we hire someone, we get a lot of turnout because we have a lovely shop, and they see the work that we put out, and they're really great groomers that come and try out. But a lot of times, they can't believe that it's like we're almost too nice. They're like, "I don't believe you. You don't yell at people. It's weird to them because they come from they're still in that toxic mindset. Like, oh, well, what if I have to jerk a dog around? I'm like, well, we don't do that. We don't do that. We don't correct like that. But we're going to teach you. We're not going to just give you a table and let you flounder, and let you fail. We're going to show you how we do things. We do them in a very nice, polite way. And some people don't know how to handle that.
yeah.
They feel more comfortable and safer in an environment that they came from. So it's like the ones that agree, those are the ones we can work with. Those are the ones that are willing to do a different brushing technique or a drying technique or a handling technique. And they learn really quick that we really do love each other there. We love each other and care for each other. And we are, lots of places say, oh, yeah, we're like family. We're more than family. We actually care. And if we don't care about you, if we don't care about the dog, we wouldn't care about you. But it all starts with the dog and it goes from there. I don't treat anybody worse than I would treat a dog. And I think that's the most important thing. I think I'm going to treat you as an individual and as a friend, exactly love you just the same as I love dogs. And that
All right.
saves the
So
day.
I'm going to sum up because we're coming up on our half hour. All right. So basically, from either side, whether you're an employee or you're an employer, communication is key. All right. When you can communicate with with the people around you, okay. I was really when I left corporate, it was because the communication was no longer there.
Right.
When I had a boss that listened to me and I felt I was respected, things were good. All right. When that was no longer there, it was how fast can I get out of this?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, whichever side of the coin you are on, all right, open communication, make an effort because that's going to pay off with better employers,
Mhm.
better employees, and better for the pets. Correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So
Weekly weird fact.
we have, what's that?
Weird fact.
Weird facts.
Weird facts. Hold on a second. Give it a, because technology.
This is a
Back
good
to the
one.
screen. Come on.
Angie's Weekly Weird Fact.
Okay, so dolphins are known for being vocal. We all know the squeaks and the chirps that they do, but they actually have names for each other. They use the same distinctive click or squeak when they are addressing another dolphin and
Angie's Weekly Weird Fact.
when addressing a human that they are familiar with. So, Michelle, you'd be like click, click, and Chris, you would be squeak, squeak.
I'm going to need a name tag.
Click, click.
Squeak, squeak.
And so, but every time that they address you in the same way, and it will never be the same as they address someone else. They're individual, so
Oh yeah.
they have names and they use them. I just thought that was so cool.
That's way better than the other dolphin fact. That I panicked. I saw a
And I
dolphin come up. I
actually
went,
made that one thinking of you, Chris.
You just need something soft and fluffy, or squeaky and chirpy.
squeaky chirp.
Okay, so on that note, will we be here next week? What's next week? Oh, still not Atlanta. We'll be here next week.
Yeah, next week is the Branding and Marketing Summit on
No, that's Sunday. That's a
Sunday
good
and
point.
Monday,
But that's Sunday.
and then
Sunday, Monday.
Tuesday will be the day after the Branding and Marketing Summit on positiveed.com.
Okay, and also I'm going to throw out there, my book is out and available for purchase. Go to my profile; you'll find the links for it. A Spirit of Life: The Life and Times of Spirit of Quendo. We have 2 people here who have already read the book.
You will laugh, you will cry, you will laugh some more, and you will need tissues because it's so. There are parts of it that are so wholesome and so sweet. It gets you in that spot, and you're like, oh, I'm verklempt. Okay. Yeah, there are parts like that, and it'll just grab you. It's a great little book. I thought it was lovely, and it makes you want to hug him. I'm gonna cry. It's a great book. Go buy it. It's about this big, and it's big enough to fit in any suitcase, travel, carry on, and it's superb. I love it.
I'm going to bring a handful to I can't call it Groom, to Atlanta Pet Fair. I'm bringing a handful to the Atlanta Pet Fair.
And it will fit in your carry-on. If all
Yes.
you do is carry on, you can buy this book, and it's not going to take up a ton of space in your thing because it is thick, but it's
And Mary,
small
you
and
said
square.
we are going to be here next week, right?
Yes, we
Oh,
are.
okay. I got panicked. I heard that wrong. It's not already.
Okay. All right. So we will see everybody next week.